Welcome to the U.S. Kiss Vinyl Reference YouTube channel. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Alright folks, welcome to another episode of the U.S. Kiss Vinyl Reference. I am your host, Mike Stone. And you may have noticed that we took a break for an episode from doing individual albums. Well, we're back on track now. I'm filming this the same day that I filmed the last episode, the little side road that we took. So, getting back to it, obviously we are going to talk about that guy, Unmasked. Probably my favorite period of Kiss is from that whole Dynasty to Creatures era. Unmasked also has my favorite Kiss song in the whole world, which is Tomorrow, which there's also a 45 for. We've got quite a few U.S. variants of Unmasked to talk about, believe it or not. Quite a few variants of U.S. 45s to talk about as well. So, if you'll hang tight, I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so welcome back. And as I said, we're going to be talking about Unmasked today. A lot of variations for Unmasked. And quite a few LPs, quite a few 45s to talk about. So, as you may have heard, Unmasked has my absolute favorite Kiss song, which is Tomorrow. And also my favorite period is from around 79 to 82, that Dynasty to Creatures period. And let's see what else. It was released in May of 1980, so this one predates me by, I don't know, 6 months or so. 6, 7 months, who's counting? And there's several variants of the promo, several stock copy variants. There are record club variants all throughout. Some of these variants of the record clubs have labels that were specifically for the record club. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this little stack of 45s and a couple of them that I don't have. So let's get started, shall we? So, as always, we start off with the promotional copy. And we have gold stamps. So I am going to point out a few differences because I have 3 different promotional copies and there's differences all throughout. So we are in the time period now where plant numbers on the jacket and the label are a thing. Okay, so this is for brand new releases. This isn't for like a specialty reissue or something like that. So I'm going to recommend that you not get too hung up on a combination of a plant number on a jacket and a plant number on the label, because I believe that most of these could be found in just about any combination. Alright, so we're going to start off with the promotional copy. The one thing I am going to point out on the front cover is this has that copyright symbol underneath there on that lower right hand corner. And then we have the gold stamp on the back, and then noticed up here there's a 601. So there's your printing plant number on the jacket, and there's your promotional stamp. So all of these original copies of Unmasked come with a printed black inner sleeve. I mean, I consider that custom because, you know, there's a white border and it was printed this way. So I don't consider that a company sleeve or just a generic sleeve. Okay. We'll talk about the inserts real quick. So, starting off, we have a merchandise order form, which I'll fly up here for you, front and back. And it's been scaled down a little bit from previous releases, but there's still plenty of good stuff on here. If one would have spent the money to acquire some of the stuff off of this sheet, it would yield a pretty good return these days. So there's your merchandise sheet. Then we have an insert poster, which I'm going to scoot back for. Kind of similar to Dynasty in a way. You'll see that image on the label itself. And it's also in the bottom center portion of the front cover. As with previous releases, these inserts are the same for promotional copies and stock copies, and some record clubs even. Almost fumbled over the word record clubs for some reason. Alright, so we got the inserts out of the way. Remember the gold stamp and then the 601 in the top part of the jacket. As I said, I wouldn't get too hung up on these combinations of printing plant numbers and pressing plant numbers. Alright. So, we're going to show the promo label here. And it is a custom unmasked label with no plant number on it. And you can see on the right hand side underneath where it says NBLP 7225 DJ, it says promotional copy not for sale. So now, in the past episodes, I have talked about the FilmWorks label and the FilmWorks 1.5 label. So, and I have mentioned how, like, the FilmWorks label ran from 1977 to 1981, and the FilmWorks 1.5 label ran from 1979 to 1981. So, from 79 on, they ran at the same time. And Unmasked kind of proves that. So, as I said, this one doesn't have a pressing plant number on the label at all. Now, if you strip away the custom label, the current label at the time would have been the FilmWorks label. So this would have been a FilmWorks label without a pressing plant number on it. So that's where I get the timeline for the FilmWorks label and the FilmWorks label 1.5, and that's why I keep saying that they ran side by side, because Unmasked kind of proves that they did because of this label right here not having a pressing plant number, whereas I have several other variations that do. So that is your first promo variation of Unmasked. And let's see if I can't get this stuff back in here. There we go. Alright, now we're going to move on to our next variation of Unmasked. I'm not going to worry about pulling out the inserts from this point forward because they're all the same. So this one, we have a gold stamp in the lower corner, And I'll have to throw up an image, but you can see in the middle of that gold stamp there is a white 206 on printing plant number. So there's a printing plant variation. I'm going to point out again that this has that copyright symbol in the lower right, even though I'm not focusing on it for some reason. There we go. Same insert, same inner sleeve. And now the label. So you can see on the right hand side, it says promotional copy, not for sale. On the left hand side, underneath where it says side 1 and stereo, there's a plant number 26. So there's another variation for the promo. And if I had to say that there was a specific combination of printing plant numbers and pressing plant numbers, it would be this 206 on the jacket and that 26 on the label. That seems to be really common across quite a few titles besides Unmasked. So, but it seems like the other ones are just kind of a free-for-all. Alright, so there's a second variation. Then we have a third variation of the Unmasked promo. So this one has a gold stamp, and all three of mine have gold stamps in different corners. And then there is no printing plant number anywhere on this jacket. So, and also I kept pointing out the copyright. Well, that's gone on this jacket. So we got the same inserts, same inner sleeve. When I hold the label up here, you can see it says promotional copy, not for sale on the right, and on the left it says the plant number of 56. So there's your third variant for the Unmasked promo. And like I said, on some of these I wouldn't get too hung up on the plant number combinations. That'll be a lot more prevalent in the 80s period, like the non-makeup period, I should say. Alright, so now we're going to stock copies, retail copies, whatever you want to call them. So our first one we have So I'll show this jacket has a 601, like that promo jacket that I showed. Come on. Well, I'll have to fly an image in because my camera doesn't want to grab it. We've got the same inserts and everything. And then the label, you can see, is a custom Unmasked label, and there's no pressing plant number. So there's one variation of Unmasked. Yeah, get in there. And some people don't really consider the plant numbers a variation. I do, and I go out of my way to try to get as many as I can. So, but I mean, it's something different on the label from another label. So, I mean, it is a variation. All right, the next one. We have no printing plant number on the back of the jacket anywhere. And also no copyright symbol here. And the label, notice there on the left hand side before the word manufactured, you see a number 18. So there's your pressing plant number. And then I want you to kind of keep an eye on the size of that rim text, you know, where it starts from and where it ends, because there's a variation on that, come to find out. So I consider this a long text variant, even though it's got the same exact text. It's maybe the letters are a little bit bigger or however it is, but there's one that doesn't reach quite as far. Alright, so the next one, and a pretty good example of what I was talking about the combination. So this one has a 601 on the jacket, and it has a number 18 on the label, which I'm fixing to show. So you see off to the left there, it shows a number 18. And then if you look at that text, you can see it's smaller than the one I showed previously. And then I'll throw both of them up here so you can see side by side while I'm putting all this back. So we have two variations from the same pressing plant. So our next variation . So this one has a 206 right there on the bottom part of the jacket, which I'll have to fly in, but it's able to be seen a little easier without that promo stamp hiding it. And then the vinyl, if you notice on the left hand side under stereo and side 2 or 1, whichever side, there is a number 26. So there's another pressing plant variation. Alright, on to the next one. We have 601 on the back of the jacket. And the label over on the left-hand side has a number 56. So that one matches one of the promos also. Alright, and then we have another stock copy variation. This one also has a 601 on the jacket. And the label, if you look off to the right hand side underneath the catalog number, you see a number 72. So yet another pressing plant for Unmasked. So as I pointed out with that promotional copy that didn't have a pressing plant number, if you strip all that away, you have just a regular Filmworks label. So all of these that have pressing plant numbers, if you strip that away, you have a Filmworks label with a pressing plant number. So that's where this logic for that Filmworks 1.5 label comes into play. So, alright, so there's our retail copies. Now I'm going to touch on record clubs. And we got quite a few record clubs. So, first one is a CRC, and it is printed in this lower corner right here. Mine came to me without inserts, but I have touched on that they can or can't come with inserts, so either way is correct. Alright, this is a label that I have only seen with CRC copies. So, it's a custom Unmasked label. It says nothing about CRC, but if you look, that pressing plant number is a number 25. I've only seen that with a CRC jacket. And then something else I'm going to point out here is that there is a blank space right here. Usually there is a KISS Army address right here. So if I show you the back of this stock copy jacket here, see it says KISS Army fan mail, P.O. box and all that. It's missing from here. So there are some CRCs that have it and some that don't. So just a little thing to watch for. So while I'm putting this up, there's a very common CRC copy that comes with a Plant 56 label. I don't have that one because I've got the 56 label already, and I've got plenty of CRC jackets, so I didn't feel the need to grab that combination. Alright, and then I'm going to point out one that I don't have in my possession. Is there is one with the same CRC jacket, and it has the, I'm going to put this up here now. It's a custom Unmasked label with a plant number 73 on the left hand side. So yeah, I haven't located that one yet. So, but it does exist. I have friends that have it. So a friend that has it, I should say. So now going to the next CRC variation, and before I get into that, that Plant 73 Unmasked label, I've only ever seen it with a CRC jacket. So here we have another CRC jacket. This one has the KISS Army address on the back. And again, this is one that I've only seen with a CRC jacket. So instead of having the custom Unmasked label, this one has a Filmworks label with the Sunset Boulevard address, and then there's that number 73 on the left-hand side. So there's an Unmasked label with a number 73, and then there's this Filmworks label with a 73. I've only seen both of those with a CRC jacket. And now I'm going to talk about that CRC a little bit. So CRC stands for Columbia Record Club. Columbia owned a bunch of pressing plants that several different record labels used. So the numbers that you commonly see on KISS records is 25, 56, and 73. So 25 is the Columbia pressing plant in Santa Maria, California. 56 is the Columbia Records pressing plant in Pittman, New Jersey. And 73 is the Columbia Records pressing plant in Terre Haute, Indiana. So my theory on this whole CRC thing is when Casablanca commissioned Columbia to use their pressing plants, Columbia probably made a stipulation that they get to hold some copies back to sell in their record club. So more than likely, and I mean, this is a pretty loosely based theory, but if you have a CRC copy, if you look into runouts, or if you're able to identify it by the pressing plant number, you're going to find that it was pressed in a Columbia facility. So that's my theory on the Columbia House stuff. So and we've seen a pressing plant or a Columbia House variant for 25, and then I pointed out one for 56, and then two different ones for 73. So those are all three Columbia pressing plants. All right, now we're moving on to the next record club, which is RCA. So RCA marked their jacket. You got this blue text right here. Manufactured by RCA Music Service under license, and then gives the address and then the license number. I'll also point out over here that there is a KISS Army fan mail address. Now on the label, you can see on the left hand side under side 2 in stereo, it has a number 18, which I have never seen another RCA label with a different number. But if you look up above that side 2 and stereo, or side 1, it says manufactured by RCA Music Service under license. And then if you go over to the right hand side underneath where it says NBLP 7225, it gives you that license number. So RCA was usually pretty good about marking their record club copies. A lot better than Columbia was. And there is a video somewhere in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in of me opening a sealed Unmasked RCA to find no poster. So that's all I have to go off of right now, is my own personal experience that there was no poster in these. And this would be the copy that I opened. So I showed you on the other jacket that there was a blue text for RCA. So here's the white text. And then also there's no Army address right there. So, and then we have the exact same label as the previous one that I showed. So there's really no need in holding that one up to the camera. Alright. And the next one is, do I even have to go through the spiel of the polygram reissues? Might as well, I'm here. So we know about the polygram reissues with the printed UPC. We know that there was a series before that. So one of the criteria for the series is a printing plant on the jacket. Well, we're kind of in the time period where that just happens anyway. Thankfully for Unmasked, it has a specific printing plant that you don't find with stock copies. And it's that there's a white 0501 underneath the Casablanca logo there. A plain Filmworks inner sleeve, and I have seen some chatter in the group about these. I have noticed this a few years ago, but I just didn't pay much mind to it. But one of those sides of the inner sleeve, there is a small 0701 printed. Some have it, some don't. I have some with and without, and they're kind of randomly scattered, so I don't think there was much of a science to it. But yeah, I just seen a post on it the other day and it reminded me of it. So there's one criteria, having the printing plant number on the jacket. Now the next, so if you look over to the right hand side underneath the catalog number, you see a plant number 72, which again, that just kind of happens now, you know, we're in that time period. But if you look at the bottom, instead of a Sunset Boulevard address, it has a polygram address. So this is a polygram reissue. Polygram hasn't quite fully taken over yet, so we call this the Filmworks 2 series. And as I've harped on for the last several episodes, it's a difficult series to complete, and they can have like a UPC sticker on the back of the jacket. Usually the ones I've seen for Unmasked are usually up here, so could come with or without that UPC sticker. Some of them were on the jacket, some of them were on the shrink. So there's our Filmworks 2 reissue for Unmasked. And then we have the next Polygram reissue. This one has the UPC printed on the jacket and is red for some reason. And then there's an 0501 on this one, but it's in a different place. It's over here instead of underneath the Casablanca logo, which is red on the Filmworks 2 series. It's got that cheap plastic inner sleeve that did not stay. And it has a Polygram Filmworks label. So if you look over to the left hand side right before the word manufactured, you'll see a number 53. So there's your pressing plant number. And then to set this one apart from the Filmworks 2, if you go over to the right hand side underneath NBLP 7225, it gives a 826-242 number. So that's your Polygram catalog number. So the catalog number changed. And see here, this gave a date of May of 1986 when this one was pressed. So this Filmworks 3 series ran from 1985 to 1990, so that was well within that time frame. Then we are going to skip ahead a couple of decades to 2014. So the Kisteria set I've talked about, they reissued the back catalog in 2014. Everything but Sonic Boom was included. There are some titles that are exclusive to the box set. There are some titles that are not. This was not exclusive. You can get this in the store or in the set. So you can see they recreated the jacket. They did not recreate the inner sleeve. Now, it came with one like this, but it's white, and I happen to have another record floating around, a different band, but it had this black inner sleeve with it, and I figured since the old one was black, I'll put a black one in it, but they did not come with this black inner sleeve. This was something I did, so I did the bad thing and Frankenstein. Alright. They recreated the poster, which I'll move back for. And it's on a little bit thicker material than the old poster. It seems like it's thicker anyway, and you know it's not 40 years old, so. And the vinyl. It got reissued on the custom Unmasked label. There's a Mercury logo off to the right and a new catalog number, so you won't mistake this for a vintage copy. And some have commented on the sonic differences of Unmasked with these 2014 reissues. Some have said that it's usually better in some way or another. I mean, it sounds like Unmasked to me. I haven't been able to pick up on anything like that, so. And just for grins, it's got the old Kiss Army address on it, which I doubt will yield you any results if you send anything into it. So, alright, and then we've got another reissue. This one is from 2020. So I'm going to pull the poster out, and I'm going to see if it gives a different date, or if they just reused the 2014 poster. So there is a 2020 date, so they did not reuse the 2014 poster for this reissue, and this one is folded different. Usually the white is showing instead of the printed part of the poster. So and then it has just a generic colored vinyl hype sticker that's gold colored. That can be found with any release that's on colored vinyl in Universal's catalog. White inner sleeve, that's poly-lined. This is what came with the Kisteria reissue too. And then we get to the vinyl. We got a nice white with a multicolor splatter, and I kind of like how this one turned out, honestly. And then we zoom in on the label, and it's a custom Unmasked label. It does have the updated 2020 date on the label, so they didn't reuse anything from 2014 on this release. It got a new jacket, a new label, a new poster. So they kind of put forward a little bit of effort. Alright. And that is the last of the USLP variations that I'm aware of. And as I said in the beginning, you could probably find any of those printing plant number on the jacket and pressing plant number on the label combinations. You could probably find as many combinations as there are of them. So I am going to reset real quick, and I will come back and do 45. So it'll be a blip to you, but it's going to be noticeable to me. And we're back. I had to go grab me some liquid courage here. So now we're talking about 45s. There were two different 45 releases from Unmasked in the US. You had Shandy and She's So European, and then you had Tomorrow and Naked City. So I think maybe they could have went with a better choice for the first one. You know, maybe make tomorrow the first choice for the single, and then, something completely different instead of Shandy, but that's just me. So starting off with Shandy, we're going to start off with a promo. And so there's your Filmworks 1.5 label. And if you look over to the left-hand side, you'll see a number 25. On the right-hand side, up above, it says promotional copy not for sale. So there is that one. And oh yeah. And there's your stereo side. And the other side was mono. Unmasked is also the last album for the mono stereo promo 45s. So from here on out, it'll be the exact same label on both sides for the most part. Alright, we have another promo variation for Shandy. This one is also mono stereo. You see on the left hand side it says promotional copy not for sale, and it also says number 56. So there's your mono side and your stereo side. And then getting into the retail copies. So the first one we have is, you'll notice on the left hand side there is a number 19. And I'm also going to train your eye over to the right hand side underneath where it says NB2282. You can see in parentheses it says NB2282 AS and BS, depending on which side. So there's going to be something about that here in a second. And then there's your She's So European side. So there is a variation of this one I do not have, but I will throw it up here. And if you notice underneath where it says NB2282, in parentheses it says OC405. What that number means, I have no idea, but it's there. So that's just another variation I haven't located yet. And then, yeah, here's both of them together before I start the next one, so you can see the difference. Alright, and then the next 45. If you look at the left hand side, you'll see a number 26. There's the Shandy side, and there's the She's So European side. And I forgot to point out before I brought this one up, I put it up here. There is a variation with a plant number 25 on the label. That's another one I just haven't located yet. So, alright, on to the next one. So, if you look to the left hand side, you'll see a number 56. So there's your Shandy side. And there's your She's So European side. another variation. Alright, if you look over on the left hand side, you'll see a number 72. So there's your Shandy side. And she's so European. Alright, and then we jump ahead to 2012 for the singles box set. As I've mentioned many times, you know, is a collection of all the different singles from the makeup period, and then they snag some picture sleeves from around the world. I am at a loss for where this picture sleeve is from. It's got the album cover on the back. I mean, I'm sure somebody will be out there to correct me, but yeah, I'm so uneducated on non-US stuff. It's kind of pathetic, really, but that's just not my niche, I guess. So it was reissued on the Filmworks label. There's your Shandy side, and she's so European. And as I've said before, these 45s were not available separately. You had to buy the box set to get them. So if you bought them off of eBay singly, then that was the secondary market. They weren't available at retail by themselves, the singles box set reissues. Alright, now we're going to the next one, or the next 45 I should say, which is Tomorrow, back with Naked City. Starting off with a promotional copy of that. So there's that Filmworks label, and then notice off to the left there's a number 25. So there's your mono side. Then your stereo side. And then we have another promo variation. So, looking off to that left-hand side, you now see a number 56. There's your mono side. And your stereo side. Notice that they've said promotional copy not for sale up on the right-hand side. Forgot to point that out on the last one. Now we're getting into retail copies. So when I hold that one up, if you look off to the left hand side, see a number 18 there on the label. So there's Tomorrow and Naked City. Alright, next variation. So off to the left you'll see a number 19. So there's Tomorrow. And Naked City. We got another variation here. If you look off to the left-hand side, you'll see a number 25. So there's Tomorrow. And Naked City. Next variation. If you look off to the right hand side, you'll see a number 26. So there's Tomorrow. And Naked City. And the next variation, if you look off to the left hand side, you'll see a number 56 on the label. So there is Tomorrow and Naked City. Then another variation. So on the left hand side there, you'll see a number 72. Right, yeah, 72. And then that was Tomorrow. This is Naked City. So yeah, I mean, this album did not sell worth a crap. There was no U.S. tour for Unmasked. There's a lot of variations. And then we've got the singles box set. So this picture sleeve comes from Japan. And then the vinyl was reissued on a Filmworks label. It's Tomorrow and Naked City. So that does the U.S. variations for Unmasked that I'm aware of. The album and the 45. I'm not aware of anything other than what I've shown, so not saying that's all of it, I'm just saying that's all I know about it. So, and I appreciate you hanging with me. This one ran kind of long because I had so many variations, but as I said, I appreciate you hanging with me, and we will catch you on the next one.